It's made out of cardboard, paper mache. There's a little bit of plastic water bottles in there. Well, when I went to the beach this summer, we went fishing for sharks, and I actually caught a hammerhead shark, so it just kind of based that off of that.
The inspiration is like, I was looking through the Bible, and it described angels, and it said biblically accurate angels, like, because people usually talk about that and they don't really know what it is. But I chose to bring it to life and really show people what it actually looks like, what an angel actually looks like. It's made out of cardboard. It's like a foil, like rat ball inside, toothpicks, and that's pretty much it. It was a good process. I enjoyed making it.
It's utensils, specifically plastic knives, plastic forks, plastic spoons, a paper plate, cups, cans, foam block, and cardboard.
And where did you get all your stuff?
I got them from school and mostly house parties.
All right. What was your inspiration for it?
So when I was little, I was a very picky eater. So my parents, who grew up not financially best back home in the Philippines, they never really had the food, good food. So they were living off very little. So when I was born here in America, they provided so much for me and my brother, good food, so we were able to nutritiously benefit us. And I realized, looking back at that moment, that food builds us up, and we need it in our lives, and food is very important.
It's made out of recycled magazines, recycled food boxes, recycled homework, and an old can.
All right. And what was your inspiration?
I've always been obsessed with origami, and so lately I've been interested in making origami fashion.
I really like mermaids, and I've been making a lot of mermaid-esque artwork in art class lately, so I thought I could keep that going with my sculpture and just finding different materials to make kind of like an ocean-esque themed sculpture. One of the things that I learned was how hard it is to transport these sculptures. So I specifically made this one detachable. So there are about 4 different parts: the hula hoop, the box, the tail, and then the mannequin that can all come apart. So I definitely wanted to make that easier to transport to and from home this time around, instead of trying to hold it and make sure it doesn't break on the way here. Well, I've been applying to colleges, and I've got accepted into 3 so far for fashion design. So I really would like to keep on doing art in college, specifically through fashion, and I kind of showed that through, or use those skills in this sculpture by doing a lot of sewing as well, like hand sewing of the tail and everything, and using different scrap fabrics from my sewing area, which is also a nice way to use recycled materials.
Painter cards, cardboard, clay, and sticks.
What was your inspiration for it?
A photo of my grandparents in Hawaii on their anniversary.
Very nice. Have you ever made recycled art?
No, I have not.
So what do you think of the process?
Difficult and long.
Okay. What would you do differently next time?
Probably start a little bit earlier and take my time.
I used a combination of different things. I used paper mache for all the structure, then popsicle sticks for the bridge, and then I used old swim ribbons that I had as petals for the leaves and decoration in the trees.
What convinced you to cut up your swim ribbons for it?
Well, I needed to add a personal piece to it, and one day I was just walking around my room cleaning it up, and there was just a pile there, and I figured, why not try to incorporate something like that into my piece, and I think it worked out pretty well.
My sculpture is a hummingbird, peeking his head into the flower. So in our backyard, we have a lot of flowers on our porch, and I love to sit out there and read, and a lot of hummingbirds come flying past, so I wanted to recreate that. I used a lot of different materials. This is plastic bottle spray painted green. This is a white plastic bag, and a lot of soda cans.
Did you drink all the soda?
Me and my mom did.
Nice. Have you done recycled art before?
This is my first time.
What'd you think?
It was a lot of fun, very creative. It was a new experience for me.
Okay. You're a senior, so what's next for you?
I would like to go to Montana State University. I want to study environmental science, so not along the lines of art, but I still love it.
This is like purely soda cans. Soda tabs. I did not want to use any aluminum foil or anything because I wanted it to be purely recycled. I always thought crows were like really good at recycling. It was believed, like in ancient folklore, that crows collected things, and even though if they didn't really hold any value, you know, like they'd collect things, and like they're the ones that find like the treasure.
Cardboard and playing cards. Well, I've always loved clowns. I have these little clown dolls, and I made it after one of them.
The interior is made out of cardboard, and I paper mache'd that to make it as circular as possible, and then I covered it in shards of glass, and then the bottom is made out of a mirror.
All right, what was your inspiration?
Our Earth is suffering, and if we don't take action soon, I just fear for what might happen.
Perfect. So, do you do a lot of environmental things in your daily life?
I try to. I recycle every day. I just do my best to preserve what we have.
Perfect. You're a senior. What's next for you?
I'm going to go to college on the West Coast, hopefully, and study biology.
I really just wanted to take my love for pop and rock culture and mix it with my love for fashion and just create something that incorporated both. I thrifted an old book. It was a book of rock and pop culture, and I thought it would be good because the pages were thick enough that I could sew them. I've been sewing for 5 years. I made a paper plate dress 2 years ago. This one is fully sewn, and technically it is fully functional and wearable. The paper plate dress was just completely pinned to the bodice.
My inspiration for Huntington is we have a hummingbird feeder in our back of our yard, and we like to watch the birds.
Perfect. What's he made out of?
It's paper mache on the inside, some Dorito bags, and then his flowers or soda cans and some wires.
All right. Is this your first chance at recycled art?
We had 2 other art shows, one at Century and then the Ag Center, and this is my last one.
Okay, all with this one piece?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, excellent. And what have you taken from this project?
It's a really cool way to look at different pieces of recycling material. I didn't think about making a sculpture because I always think about just putting recycling away. I didn't think about doing this.
Do you recycle on the regular basis?
I try to.
Okay.
Sometimes I do forget, but I do my best.
My inspiration is that I like sea turtles and the environmental issue behind them with them eating plastic, and then it makes them sick, and especially with the straws and everything. I used a couple plastic containers, some newspaper, paper mache, all recycled materials that I found around my house.
So with these junk sculpture projects, the first thing I always do is I want to think of a unique material, because yeah, you have plastic and you have paper, but I usually want to try and find something more unique to build a sculpture with. And so I thought, how cool would it be if I built it out of old computer parts? And so yeah, I asked around and I got a few pieces, and then when I was thinking of what I'd actually want to build, I thought, well, computers, they process, they think. And so I thought, why don't I just make my own version of the thinker? I had a lot of help from my mom. She has a bunch of Facebook moms with broken computers, stuff like that. There's this one person who gave 5 or 6 computers. Taking everything apart and getting the pieces took about 4 to 5 hours, and then actually putting it together took about 8 to 9 hours. I'm probably going to go to Carroll Community
for
mechanical or electrical engineering. I'm still not sure between the two.
Well, I was making it for the contest, but my school does an AP investigation, and my investigation is making dresses with odd materials and how I can kind of relate the materials to me and growing up. Actually, I've been doing sculptures for 2 years now, and I was in this last year too with another paper dress. I think it's definitely different because I used a different method. This one's paper mache, and the other one was kind of just glued on. It was a bit more flowy, but definitely different and easier because I've just gotten better. I've been doing it for longer now, so I have more different ways to try to make it work better and stick together and look more cohesive. I really like art, so I'd like to do an art program wherever I'm going, but I'll probably go to HCC first, and then I'll go transfer to a 4-year, and so within that I'll find somewhere to do art because I just love it.
I wanted to do something more leaning towards the theme of fall. So my girlfriend wanted me to do more sculpting, so she kind of inspired me to do it, and she was shooting me ideas, and she said that I should make a pumpkin. So I used old rebar we had laying around in the shop and stuff, and like the hydraulic line off of one of the brakes for the kinetic powered vehicles we make, like bikes.
And what class was this for?
This is for industrial design, KSR race. So basically every year we make a kinetically powered sculpture to enter into the Baltimore kinetic sculpture race. And it's just old pieces from that and some donated pieces from like our maintenance and stuff that just would have been thrown away otherwise. It's made out of like, these are just bolts we had laying around and nuts, and this is off thread, which normally comes like in a long, it's just like a long threaded rod that we use for various things in my class. So these are just offcuts of it that I shaped down with a grinder. This is all sheet metal, that just offcuts of sheet metal, and I snipped it out with tin snips. I actually curved it with a ball peen hammer, so it's got all these little divots in it like an actual crab shell does. So my girlfriend's dad's taken me out crabbing for the last 2 years, and I wanted to make a meaningful gift for him. So I actually made it last year, at the end of last year, for him for his birthday, but my school wanted me to enter it in here, so I had to take it back from him.
One of the large industries that is destroying our planet is like the metal industry. Thousands and thousands of pounds of metal are just going to like landfills. Additionally, the Spirostrepus sculptus is also known as the lost millipede because for over 50 years it was not seen because its environment was destroyed by like pollution and industries.
My inspiration was that hammerhead sharks are endangered, and I wanted to focus on the recycled pieces. This is a recycled rope from our local Terrapin Beach and recycled cans and recycled CDs throughout our community. The base is cardboard and it's stuffed with paper just so it's a little bit more filled, and then the cover is paper mache. I thought it was a little hard to concept like how big it is and like kind of the motion that it was moving in the water. So I think that was the most difficult part of the piece, but throughout it was kind of smooth going throughout the artwork.
All right, so you're a senior, what's next for you?
To study marine biology at Coastal Carolina.
It's a funky 2-piece set. It's made from all recycled materials in the classroom.
And what was your inspiration for it?
I just love fashion, and I just wanted to put together some pieces that you wouldn't think go together. The patterns are crazy, but I just wanted to put them all together and make one big thing.
Have you ever made anything like this before out of recycled, reusable?
No, this is actually the first thing I've ever sewn before, so I was just really excited to put something together.
And what did you think of the process?
It was very difficult, but it was really fun, and I'm really excited about the piece.
Is this your first time making some recycled art?
Yes, for a contest like this. I've made personal pieces, but never anything this big or for a competition.
Okay, and what is the name of the piece?
Record-breaking heron.
What was your inspiration for it?
My dad collects records and he has so many left over, so I was like, sure. And my mom's favorite bird is a heron, a great blue heron.
All right, perfect. And so you obviously used records. What else do you use?
I used a bunch of scrapbooking flowers that my mom would never use again, and a bunch of paper mache.
And what are they strings or just wire?
It's just wire. It's like a clay sculpting wire, so it's stronger.
Okay, excellent. Lessons learned from this project?
Be careful with the heat gun, because I do have a slight scar on my hand because I spaced out for a minute and burned my hand.
Perfect. How long did it take you to make it?
10 hours maybe? That's in and out of school.
Okay. So you're a senior, you headed off for a environmental or artsy type career?
I am going to Carroll Community for ceramics and floral design.
I call this bones. It's mostly milk jug plastic. We also have some cardboard, soda tabs, and paint seals. Well, I really like the innate beauty in death, like having the skeleton revealed only after you die. or any animal does, and how like I just think that skeletons are very cool and intricate, and I wanted to construct that out of something. It was interesting to just collect things and take them apart. I did a lot of cutting and just arranging, figuring out like a puzzle piece, looking at some diagrams to find the right pieces, and yeah, it was like a lot of improvisation.
Was there a particular animal you were using as inspiration?
A dog skeleton, yes. That was my model.
Excellent. And you're a senior, so what is your next step in life?
I'm looking to go to some four-year college for probably to major in art and go into a career with art.
Okay. Do you think you'll incorporate more recycled materials in your artwork?
Probably. I like to use whatever I think would be best. I love mixed media.
My inspiration was my home state, Maryland, that I've lived in my whole life, and I just wanted to use a variety of materials.
Where did you get all of these materials?
Some are from my house, my trash can, and some are from my teacher, Miss Rowe, who also collects trash to use for art. I'm in my senior year at Liberty. I'm gonna study psychology at some state school.
I really based it off of the movie Finding Nemo because, you know, like it's just like a really good movie, and when I thought of like recycled sculpture, I was like, oh, maybe because like a lot of like in like the oceans and stuff, there's a lot of trash and stuff, so kind of like a way of just like showing the movie, but then also be like to show, hey, like we need to kind of not put all this trash in the ocean and to save like the animals and stuff.
And what type of things did you use in your piece?
I used cardboard. I did like newspaper with like paper mache. I did plastic bottles, yarn.
This is a hammerhead shark made out of plastic water bottles, hot glue, and spray paint.
All right, what was your inspiration?
I just really like hammerhead shark. It was fun, a little more difficult than I thought it would be.
My inspiration was the painting The Kiss by Gustav Klimt, which was an Art Nouveau painting, and the Art Nouveau movement in general was a rebuttal to the Industrial Revolution, which caused a lot of pollution and kind of started a bunch of climate change. I came to the same competition last year with a bookshelf. I want to do architecture, so I want to go somewhere in a city to do architecture.
I'm planning to study architecture in college, and I wanted to do something with a house because I wanted more practice with making more 3D kind of houses and stuff to relate to the field I want to go in. I mean, I do other art, but it's mostly 2D, but this is like my first big 3D piece. It took forever, so I would say get done like the bigger parts first and then focus on the smaller details because it was it was like really random in the order I did things, and it made things go a little bit slower.
I do hair, and I had a lot of scraps left over from people's hair I've done, so I just decided to take it and make it all into a dress because I like fashion and like stuff like that. I'm in cosmetology school right now, so I'm on the road to get my license, and I'll have it by next year.
I just like to collect stuff, like I'm kind of a hoarder. So I had a lot of soda cans and a lot of plastic containers. So I used that to make like different towers, like a city. Next time I want to do something bigger, and I want to do something completely different. I've always liked to do art and stuff like fashion and everything like artsy and stuff like crafts. Like I've done it all really.
I like salamanders a lot. I started to like, I just like reptiles in general, and a salamander is like, I don't know, it's like this like, it's a cute animal, and I also think it's really cool how they can just regenerate limbs and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, we're using recycled projects, so using them and making an animal that can already regenerate limbs is like a cool idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your inspiration for the piece?
I saw some pictures, and then I got inspired by some videos, and I thought about it, and then I came up with this.
I used cans, fake peacock feathers, CDs, and then it's on a cardboard background.
And what was your inspiration?
Well, we had a bunch of cans in my classroom, and I know I wanted to make something colorful, and the most colorful thing I could think of was a peacock.
Do you think you're more of an environmentalist or an artist?
I like to think of both. I'm conscious of the environment, and I like showing that through my art.
Perfect. What do you do besides recycled art to help the environment?
I'm really big on recycling. I like to always make sure that I'm recycling, but also a lot of my research projects that I do at school are focused around the environment, so just to create like recognition and stuff around that.
So this half of it started as a world history project of for the Renaissance era, and then for the junk sculpture competition, I decided to make my bedroom with me in it, making that piece. A mini model of me making the piece.
And is this your first foray into recycled art?
I did it my sophomore year.
All right, so what did you do differently this time? What were lessons learned?
Well, last time I made a huge dinosaur. This time I kept it smaller scale, but I put a lot more detail into it. I want to do animation, so I've applied to schools for that.
Is this your first time making recycled art?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of your piece?
Magni. So that's the Greek word for mighty strong, and I just thought the sword was very strong and mighty. So.
Okay. And what materials did you use?
So I used a lot of everything. The sword was made out of cardboard, and then the shield was made out of a drum set. So then I just started gluing pieces on to make the sword out of junk and the shield. And then I used DVDs to cover the shield.
Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie, and I really like Belle. She's my favorite Disney princess.
Okay, and what did you use for this?
I used bottle caps, wires, a cork board, and a plastic cup.
It's from a TV show that I love and also got me through really tough times. And it's the hats of these three brothers that remind me of me and my sisters.
Okay, and what did you make it out of?
Lots of recycled stuff like beads, ribbons, crystals, and a whole bunch of old jewelry that I could find.
It's made out of a glass bottle, light bulb, coat wire, and CDs and beads. I've always loved nature and such, and trees are just really cool to me.
I really just wanted to bring awareness to the decreasing population of manta ray in the ocean. So I started with cardboard, and then I used soda tabs on top, and then on the bottom to give it the body I used magazines crumbled up, and then I used some recycled yarn that I found in my art room to give it some color. I'm actually going for elementary education, but I will definitely be using recycling as a creative outlet.
I really like bugs. My mom told me I couldn't make a weird bug that nobody would recognize. And I think beetles are unappreciated. These are cut up soda cans, mostly energy drinks, because that's what is available at a high school. And then, and then an old fire log.
When I started making it, I started thinking about global warming, and I thought what better to represent that than a microwave. And kind of just how, the concept of how a microwave is used to heat things up. So I thought that it would work good trying to represent how the world is heating up as we speak. I used cardboard, chipboard, paper, plastic, and wire.
I just really like fish. I kind of wanted it to be connected to recycling. When I think about recycling, I think of pollution. So I wanted to kind of capture the fish being happy and healthy if their place weren't polluted. So I made them bright, and because bright colors in fish, they show health. For the base, I used cardboard, tape, hot glue, and to cover it, I used paper pulp. I cut up the scales with cardboard and I painted them.
My piece was inspired by a strong person in my life. I wanted it to represent being mentally strong through the tiger, and then my love for plants and the color green as the background. I wanted it to symbolize being fragile in a sense. I wanted it to kind of balance between a symbol of strength and being fragile at the same time. I used cardboard entirely for the background. I used cardboard for the base of my tiger, cardboard for the details. I used a polyfiber, I'm pretty sure, for the fluff, and Mod Podge over the entire thing.
My inspiration was the fact that I have ADHD and I like to hoard trash just in case I need it for an art project and stuff. So it's me being attached to what seems like garbage and then guarding it don't want to throw it away. The dragon is made out of paper mache wire and then covered in soda cans. The mountain she's lying on is paper and tissue paper with soda can flowers. And in the terrarium thing, it's construction paper, candy wrapper trees, and a paper rock with soda tabs.
My inspiration was more about my mental health last year with how I was balancing things. I realized like if I didn't get stuff out or like I just let it stack up, it just started to overflow at some point and just spill. And it didn't come out in the best ways. For materials, I used fabric, old textbook papers, cardboard, and a paper mache mixture to get the structure.
It's mainly cardboard, a lot of cardboard. The main structure is built by 2 cardboard masks, and then just a lot of other materials like 2 cans, a coffee mug topper, and just everything I could find. I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed the paintwork.
It's made out of plaster, broken doll parts, which was like my childhood doll, and fabric pieces, buttons, the theme of being broken but recovering from it and growing a sense of newness. So the buttons help symbolize how her dress will come off one day and she will show her true unique self, which is the butterflies and the glitter and plaster underneath.
All right, awesome. This is the first time you've done recycled art?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I think it was fun because it felt freeing.
I really love the beach, first of all, and second of all, the trash in the ocean is really sad to see.
Okay.
And the bottle represents the trash in the ocean. I got some of them recycled from the art room, like used paint bottles, and some parts of it are newspaper.
This is Patricia. Yeah.
Patricia, and what was your inspiration for Patricia?
I wanted to make originally something inspired by the comic Tank Girl. It was a little bit too complicated though. I wanted her to originally be like a warrior princess with like crazy armor. Ran out of time, so she's an alien princess instead. So the idea was everyone else was working on their junk sculptures and I would use all their scraps. So everything that they wanted to throw away, I would take. Like they had probably like 1-inch corners of foam that I used to build up her bust, and a bunch of old newspaper. We used plaster to kind of smooth her out. And someone was using these for their project and they had a bunch of ripped ones and I used it as her wig. And old fabric pieces that make up a barely what you could count as a shirt, old plastic bags, old ribbon, and a hubcap. So, yeah.
Nice. Is this your first time making recycled art?
Not really. When I was a kid, my mom was very eco-friendly and we didn't have a lot of money to like buy materials, so I would kind of have to make things with what I had. And I kind of just grew up making recycled art, not purposefully, but just out of necessity, I guess.